Hey, what's shaking, guys? Jay here, Tech First. Check this out. We now know that LG is serious about its Android phone game, and the LG G4 was a successful phone. But soon, you're gonna have less reason to spend $900 on a cell phone. So can LG prove it's got the chops when creating its own mid-range device? This is the LG G4 Vigor. So at the mid-range, specs really matter. It could be the difference between you having a good phone and a bad phone. The G4 Vigor has a 5.2-inch 1080p in-cell screen with curved glass. It has a 2300 mAh battery, an 8-megapixel rear camera with f2.4 aperture, it has a 5-megapixel selfie cam, and it all runs on an 8-core Snapdragon 615 processor. It has 1.5 GB of RAM, 8 GB only of expandable memory, and retails for $330. My big concern going into this phone was if the camera was going to hold its own, or if LG has cut some major corners. The Vigor manages to keep its button placement on the back of the phone, which has now become somewhat of a trademark for them. The phone is nice and light at 139 grams and extremely pocketable. Ever since the Nexus 6, I really appreciate the lighter phones out there. 5.2 inches is a great screen size, just barely usable one-handed. Double tap to wake is back, and I wish all phones had this ability. But still, there's no genuine leather back cover on this one, and you're left with its contemporary hammered look. LG's words, not mine. Whatever they want to call it, the plastic back offers no real grip or texture and can feel slimy in the hand on a hot day. The G4's leather backing added such an exceptional feel to the hand. Now, the speaker on the back of the phone is adequate. It gets pretty loud and clear, it has some decent enough depth, but it automatically loses points for being on the back of the phone. So for how well it performs, the Snapdragon 615 gets warm when you push it, sometimes to the point where screen brightness gets limited due to heat constraints. Double tap to open the camera has been brought back for the Vigor, allowing you to open the camera app really quick and snap a photo. So LG's opted for an 8-megapixel camera on the back, and they've kept the now essential laser autofocus and color spectrum sensor from the G4, which is a feat in itself for a $330 phone. Big ups to LG for cramming that in there. LG has also retained the manual mode, which really puts the camera over the top. You can adjust the white balance via Kelvin, the ISO goes as low as 50, which is awesome. The pictures themselves turn out decent enough with good lighting, but once the lighting drops, so does the quality. A massive difference from the G4. The sharpness isn't there like a 13-megapixel camera, but for the price it gets the job done. The size of the battery is also concerning. At 2300 mAh, running the power-hungry Snapdragon 615, I found this to be the biggest deciding factor for me in choosing a new mid-range phone. LG has made a few omissions in order to cut down costs. There's no 5 GHz Wi-Fi, there's no quick charge, and there's no wireless charging. Though, NFC has been included, which you can't say for the Moto G or the OnePlus 2. So when comparing this device to the influx of new mid-range phones out there, the G4 Vigor is a solid offering, especially for the camera's features that you're getting. Should you consider this phone over the myriad of wallet-friendly phones out there? While you're not completely in budget bliss, I feel the G4 Vigor presents good value for the money. But if you're really tight on a budget, Motorola has a better offering out there with its $100 less Moto G. Because competition is so incredibly tight in the mid-range phone game that we're spoiled for choice right now as consumers, and mid-range devices are only going to get better. Still, the G4 Vigor has made some resourceful compromises and has retained some of the most unique features from the LG G4, all at a sub $400 price. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our upcoming videos. Give us a thumbs up if you learned something, and keep tech first.